Imagine walking into a room filled with the brightest stars in the entertainment universe. All eyes on the red carpet, flashes firing, fans screaming your name. Now imagine standing there, hoping for a simple photo, only to be coldly rebuffed by two of the biggest names in music. That's exactly what happened at the 2025 Gotham Film Awards, and it's a story that has shocked the world. Meghan Markle, once the darling of royal media coverage, found herself pushed to the sidelines by none other than Rihanna and Rocky as she desperately sought a photo op. The question burning in everyone's minds is simple. Why would two of the most influential celebrities in the world reject a former royal in public? And more importantly, what does this mean for Meghan's standing in the entertainment and social sphere today? Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. The scene was set for glamour, glitz, and admiration. The Gotham Film Awards, one of the most anticipated events of the year, had its red carpet meticulously arranged. Celebrities, paparazzi, and fans from around the world had gathered for the spectacle. But what was supposed to be a celebration of cinema and star power quickly turned into a red carpet showdown that would dominate headlines for weeks. From the moment Meghan arrived, cameras flashed, whispers started, and tension thickened in the air. Meghan, poised and radiant, approached the section of the carpet where Rihanna and Rocky were standing. Her smile was polite, her demeanor calm, but there was a visible edge of anxiety beneath the surface. The world had watched her every move since she left royal life behind, and this was another high-stakes moment where perception mattered as much as reality. Fans speculated, was she hoping for a casual photo, a handshake, a moment of recognition? Or was this an attempt to reclaim relevance in an industry where celebrity influence can outweigh even royal pedigree? Rihanna, ever the queen of composure and cool, was not just another star on the carpet. She is an icon whose every movement is scrutinized and whose choices send ripples across the media landscape. Rocky, equally commanding in presence, exudes a calculated charisma that makes him both admired and untouchable. Together, they represented a wall that Meghan would soon discover was not just figurative but painfully real. As Meghan extended her hand, hoping to catch their attention, the subtle body language of Rihanna and Rocky told an unmistakable story. A small step back, a polite yet firm redirection of attention, a shift that communicated, without words, "You don't belong here." The moment, captured by hundreds of lenses, would become the defining image of the evening. Social media erupted within minutes. Memes were born, hashtags trended, and fans argued over the apparent snub. But beyond the surface, there was more at play. Why would Rihanna and Rocky react this way? Was it a calculated statement about boundaries in the celebrity world? Was it a misreading of Meghan's approach? Or was there a deeper tension, a collision of worlds, royalty and entertainment, that had quietly simmered for years? Insiders hinted at behind-the-scenes chatter, whispers that Meghan's prior public statements and past media appearances had not gone unnoticed by those who wield influence in Hollywood circles. The Gotham Film Awards are not just about appearances. Every smile, every handshake, every glance is a currency in a complex economy of influence and power. Meghan, used to royal protocol, may have underestimated the dynamics at play in a space where celebrity hierarchy is both invisible and absolute. Rihanna and Rocky, aware of their positioning, demonstrated a subtle dominance that was as much about protecting their image as it was about controlling the narrative of the night. Imagine the cameras capturing Meghan's expression at that moment. Polite surprise turning into a flicker of disappointment. Imagine the internal dialogue racing in her mind. She had prepared, she had arrived looking flawless, and yet recognition was denied. The tension was almost palpable. Onlookers, fans, and media alike could sense the shift. A small misstep on the red carpet can spiral into a viral sensation in seconds. Meghan was about to experience firsthand the unforgiving glare of global attention. Attention that often punishes those who attempt to cross invisible social boundaries. But this story is not just about a single snub. It's about what it reveals regarding Meghan's struggle to navigate a world she has chosen, yet is not fully accepted by. It's about the power dynamics between those born into fame and those who have earned it in the entertainment sphere. It's about how influence is wielded, how reputations are protected, and how public perception can sometimes overshadow personal intention. By now, viewers might be wondering, did Meghan attempt to salvage the moment? Did she retreat gracefully? Or did she try one last desperate tactic to get the photograph she so badly wanted? And what did Rihanna and ASAP Rocky do next? These questions are just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the flashes and glamour lies a drama filled with tension, irony, and unexpected emotional beats. Consider the broader implications. Meghan Markle, once celebrated for her poise, compassion, and royal grace, is now navigating a landscape where influence, social currency, and celebrity clout dictate interactions. One misstep, one public misreading, can redefine how the world perceives her. Meanwhile, Rihanna and ASAP Rocky have mastered the art of command. Silent, subtle, but impossible to ignore. The collision of these two worlds creates a narrative that is equal parts shocking, fascinating, and dramatic. And then there's the human element. Beneath the public personas are emotions, frustration, humiliation, anxiety, and a desperate hope for acceptance. Meghan's experience on that red carpet is not just a lesson in celebrity etiquette. It's a study in human vulnerability under the relentless gaze of the world. We all understand the desire to be recognized, to belong, to be seen. For Meghan, that universal longing collided with the harsh realities of celebrity hierarchy and public scrutiny. As the evening progressed, the tension did not dissipate. It escalated subtly, with small gestures, sideways glances, and the quiet orchestration of security and media personnel, ensuring that the moment would not evolve as Meghan had hoped. Every step she took, every attempt to engage, was met with a combination of politeness and deflection. The world was watching, and the world was judging. This introduction sets the stage for the unraveling drama that would dominate the Gotham Film Awards that night. It teases the shocking confrontations, the emotional fallout, the viral moments, and the behind-the-scenes revelations that no one could have predicted. And it leaves us with one undeniable truth. In the world of celebrity and influence, even a former royal can find herself outmaneuvered, publicly sidelined, and forced to confront the realities of a society where fame, power, and perception reign supreme. What happens when two worlds collide, royalty and music royalty? On the night of the 2025 Gotham Film Awards, that question became reality in a way few anticipated. Meghan Markle, once the center of the world's attention as a member of the British royal family, had entered a world dominated not by protocol or titles, but by influence, celebrity status, and the unspoken hierarchies of Hollywood. Standing just a few feet away, Rihanna radiated an effortless power that demanded attention, while ASAP Rocky's presence was magnetic, cool, and commanding. This wasn't just a casual encounter. It was a collision of two very different social universes, and the results would shock everyone in attendance. From the moment Meghan stepped onto the red carpet, there was a sense of anticipation, even tension. Flashbulbs popped around her, the crowd murmured, and photographers adjusted their lenses. Every step she took was measured, her posture regal yet approachable. She smiled politely at the onlookers, confident she could navigate this unfamiliar terrain with the poise she had perfected over years in the public eye. But standing just a few meters ahead were Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. And in that moment, Meghan's carefully calculated approach would meet a reality check she wasn't fully prepared for. The dynamics of this meeting were subtle, almost imperceptible to the casual observer, but glaringly obvious to anyone attuned to the language of celebrity. Rihanna, with her commanding aura, exuded a calm authority. Her gaze swept the crowd, noting photographers and fans, but never breaking her composure. ASAP Rocky mirrored this confidence, standing slightly behind her, a protective presence, but also an unmistakable figure of power and style. Their combined presence created an invisible barrier, one Meghan would soon realize was not just physical, but social. Meghan took a step forward, raising her hand as if to catch Rihanna's attention. It was a simple gesture, the kind one might expect in any public setting. A smile, a polite greeting, perhaps a photograph. But in the world of red carpet protocol, and particularly in spaces dominated by music icons of Rihanna's caliber, this gesture carried far more weight than Meghan likely anticipated. Every movement, every glance, every attempt to engage is scrutinized, analyzed, and interpreted, sometimes more harshly than any royal protocol could dictate. Rihanna, sensing Meghan's approach, made a subtle but decisive shift. A small step back, a hand subtly gesturing toward the surrounding photographers, a polite but firm deflection of attention. It was a silent communication, one that spoke volumes without a single word. Meghan paused, the polite smile faltering slightly. She had anticipated a warm reception, perhaps a momentary acknowledgement from one of the world's biggest music icons. Instead, she encountered a carefully executed social maneuver designed to maintain control of the situation and preserve the dynamic hierarchy of the evening. A$AP Rocky, ever the guardian of presence and persona, positioned himself strategically. It wasn't aggressive, it wasn't confrontational, but it was unmistakable in its effect. Meghan's path was subtly blocked, her proximity limited, and her access to the coveted photo opportunity effectively curtailed. Observers might have seen only a polite, almost casual redirection, but the message was clear. This wasn't a personal attack. It was a social boundary, enforced with precision. The contrast between Meghan's world and the world Rihanna and A$AP Rocky commanded could not have been starker. Meghan was trained in the protocols of royal etiquette, where gestures are scrutinized for adherence to centuries of tradition. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky operated in a universe governed by perception, influence, and image management. In this realm, a single misstep, an ill-timed smile, an overeager approach, a public display of vulnerability, could shift the balance of power in an instant. Meghan was experiencing that lesson firsthand. Behind the scenes, the tension was palpable. Security personnel, though unobtrusive, were acutely aware of the dynamics at play. They monitored Meghan's approach, subtly guiding photographers and maintaining the controlled flow of the red carpet. For Meghan, this added another layer of complexity, navigating the public eye while negotiating both visible and invisible barriers to access. Each step forward seemed measured, yet fraught with potential misinterpretation. Every movement was a test of poise under pressure. Observers in the crowd whispered, some in confusion, others in fascination. What was Meghan hoping to achieve? Did she not realize the subtle signals being sent? The flashbulbs captured every fleeting emotion, a flicker of disappointment, a tightening of the jaw, a polite but fleeting attempt to regain composure. It was a study in contrast. The former royals carefully honed poise against the effortless, natural authority of two of the entertainment world's biggest names. The photographers, meanwhile, were acutely aware of the drama unfolding. Every lens pointed toward the subtle collision of worlds. The public would see only the images, Meghan slightly behind, Rihanna poised and in control, A$AP Rocky commanding presence. But those trained in reading body language could sense the tension, the unspoken hierarchy, and the delicate power play taking place. The world had witnessed countless red carpet moments, but few carried this level of subtle social significance. Meghan, sensing the resistance, made a micro-adjustment. She shifted her stance, offered a warmer smile, and attempted a casual gesture toward Rihanna. It was the kind of move designed to break tension, to create connection, and to invite acknowledgement. Yet Rihanna remained calm, composed, and deliberate. The subtle step back, the polite redirection, the measured gaze, all signals that this encounter would not unfold according to Meghan's expectations. At this moment, the contrast between intention and reception became painfully clear. Meghan intended a polite, respectful engagement. She sought recognition, perhaps even validation. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, however, operated on a different wavelength, one that prioritized control, image management, and social boundaries. The collision was almost inevitable. Meghan's approach, honed in royal spheres, collided with the unspoken codes of celebrity dominance, resulting in a public yet carefully controlled rebuff. What made the situation even more compelling was the emotional layer. Meghan was not merely navigating protocol. She was managing expectations, desires, and the instinctual need to belong. Being publicly sidelined, even subtly, triggers a complex mix of frustration, embarrassment, and vulnerability. Observers could sense it in her body language, the hesitation in her step, the fleeting glance toward photographers, the micro-expression that betrayed a flicker of disappointment. And yet, the story was far from over. This initial encounter, charged with tension and subtle power plays, was only the beginning. The subsequent moments, captured in both video and still photography, would amplify the emotional impact and dominate discussions for days. Fans debated, analysts speculated, and social media exploded. What had begun as a polite approach became a defining narrative of the night, a collision of worlds that few anticipated and even fewer understood. As Meghan paused, briefly reassessing her approach, one question loomed over the entire scene. Could she navigate this space successfully, or was she destined to be outmaneuvered in a realm where influence and presence trumped titles and history? The answer would unfold in real time, with every flashbulb, every glance, and every subtle gesture shaping the narrative in ways that were impossible to ignore. The red carpet is supposed to be a place of glamour, of celebration, of perfectly choreographed moments captured for the world to admire. But on the night of the 2025 Gotham Film Awards, it became a battlefield. Meghan Markle, with her carefully polished appearance and poised demeanor, stepped into this arena expecting the admiration and acknowledgement she had grown accustomed to, even after leaving royal life behind. What she didn't anticipate was the unspoken hierarchy of celebrity, the subtle power dynamics, and the invisible walls constructed by those who truly command the spotlight. From the moment she appeared, the atmosphere shifted. Flashbulbs fired incessantly, capturing every micro-expression, every tiny adjustment of a hemline, every slight hesitation in posture. Photographers jostled for position, fans craned their necks, and the buzz of anticipation filled the air. But Meghan was not simply walking a red carpet. She was entering a complex social ecosystem where influence, perception, and control dictated every interaction. And right at the epicenter of that ecosystem stood Rihanna and Rocky, embodiments of that very hierarchy. The first tension arose in the subtle positioning. Meghan approached from an angle she thought would allow a casual yet visible interaction, but the flow of the crowd, the placement of security, and the natural movement of other celebrities complicated her path. Every step forward seemed calculated, yet every calculation was met with resistance, sometimes physical, often social, and always psychological. Rocky subtly adjusted his stance, ensuring that Meghan's approach would not go unnoticed, but also would not succeed without navigating an intricate dance of gestures, angles, and body language. Rihanna, meanwhile, radiated effortless control. Every movement was measured, deliberate, and commanding. Her gaze swept the red carpet like a conductor orchestrating a symphony of flashes, smiles, and poses. When Meghan made her initial attempt to engage, Rihanna's response was subtle but undeniable. A step back, a slight turn of the body, a polite yet firm deflection. The world would see only the outwardly calm demeanor, but insiders understood the layers of meaning embedded in those motions. It was a silent, perfectly executed message. This is our space, and entry is not guaranteed. As Meghan navigated the red carpet, the surrounding chaos intensified. Photographers and fans, sensing the tension, leaned in closer, creating a visual and emotional pressure that compounded Meghan's challenge. The flashes seemed almost invasive, capturing every nuance. The tightening of her jaw, the flicker of her eyes, the micro-expressions that betrayed hope and frustration in equal measure. Each image would later become fodder for social media analysis, a visual record of a struggle between presence and rejection, intention and reception. The emotional stakes were high. Meghan's approach was not simply a desire for recognition. It was a performance of belonging, an assertion that she still had a place in this glittering world of fame and influence. The subtle rebuffs from Rihanna and Rocky, while polite, challenged that assertion. To the casual observer, it may have seemed like minor body language shifts, but in reality, it was a masterclass in celebrity social dynamics, a lesson in how power and influence manifest silently, yet unmistakably. Security, too, played a pivotal role in shaping the tension. While invisible to most, their presence was meticulously calculated. They guided the photographers, subtly positioned themselves between Meghan and her intended targets, and maintained the flow of the red carpet in a way that reinforced the invisible boundaries being communicated. Meghan, aware of these subtle barriers, had to adjust constantly. Her path, her gestures, even the timing of her steps became strategic decisions made under pressure. Each micro-adjustment carried risk, too aggressive, and it could appear disrespectful. Too hesitant, and she might be perceived as lacking presence. Fans and onlookers felt the tension as a palpable force. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Some speculated about Meghan's intentions, others about Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's reactions. Social media, even before the evening concluded, began to capture snippets of speculation. Did Rihanna just snub Meghan? Why didn't A$AP Rocky acknowledge her? Is this a royal pop culture clash? The narrative was forming in real time, fueled by perception, emotion, and the ever-watchful eye of the public. Humor and irony also played their part, though perhaps more subtly. Meghan, trained in royal protocol where grace and diplomacy are paramount, encountered an arena where the same gestures could be misinterpreted or undervalued. Attempts at casual smiles or polite nods were read as overeager or awkward by some photographers. Every movement became amplified, every gesture analyzed for intent and reception. The irony was almost cinematic. A figure of global recognition facing subtle social rebuff in a world where fame is often more potent than lineage. The contrast between Meghan's internal experience and the external perception could not have been starker. Inside, she was grappling with frustration, hope, and a measure of disbelief. Outside, the crowd saw a poised, smiling figure navigating a challenging space, seemingly unaware of the subtle pushback. The resulting tension was cinematic in its clarity, a visual and emotional drama that captured the essence of the night. Yet the most critical moments were still unfolding. Meghan's persistence, her attempts to engage, and her subtle adjustments all built toward a climax. Each step, each gesture, each flicker of emotion added layers to the narrative, layers that the cameras and social media would capture and dissect for days. The red carpet, in its glittering facade, had transformed into a stage where personal ambition, social strategy, and the unspoken rules of celebrity collided. By the time Meghan reached the section of the carpet near Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, the tension had escalated to an almost tangible level. Security positioned themselves strategically, photographers adjusted their angles, and fans leaned in, sensing the impending climax of this social drama. Meghan's smile, now carrying traces of determination and anxiety, met Rihanna's composed gaze. A$AP Rocky's presence, cool and unyielding, added an invisible barrier that Meghan had yet to navigate fully. The stage was set for the confrontation that would define the evening. Every micro-expression, every subtle gesture, every unspoken cue mattered. Meghan's intentions collided with the unyielding authority of two of the most influential figures in entertainment. The moment teetered between potential reconciliation and inevitable rebuff. And then it happened. A subtle shift, a precise movement, a silent communication that said more than words ever could. Meghan's path, meticulously calculated, was interrupted. The pushback was polite, yet unmistakable. It was a moment captured in real time, a flash of emotion that would dominate headlines and social media discussions for weeks. Observers could sense the gravity of the situation, the collision of worlds, and the public drama about to unfold. She thought a simple photo would work, but she couldn't have been more wrong. As Meghan Markle approached Rihanna and A$AP Rocky on the red carpet, she carried with her not just a desire for a snapshot, but a symbol of validation, relevance, and social belonging. This wasn't just about one photograph. It was about asserting a place in a world where influence is currency and recognition is power. Yet what unfolded next would reveal just how precarious that balance can be when celebrity, perception, and human emotion collide. The moment began almost imperceptibly. Meghan, radiant in a carefully chosen gown, approached with a smile designed to convey warmth and charm. Cameras flashed, capturing her every step, every micro-expression, and every subtle movement of anticipation. Behind the scenes, the photographers understood the tension. This was no ordinary red carpet moment. Observers knew that the collision of Meghan's royal aura with Rihanna's unparalleled star power was about to create an unforgettable scene. Meghan extended her hand toward Rihanna, her smile unwavering, her gaze steady. But Rihanna, ever in control of her space, responded with a calm yet deliberate movement, a step back, a polite tilt of the head, a subtle deflection toward the surrounding media. The message was clear. While the gesture was acknowledged, it would not be reciprocated in the way Meghan had hoped. A$AP Rocky, standing slightly behind and to the side, added an additional layer of subtle barrier. His presence, cool and measured, reinforced the boundaries being communicated. For Meghan, the realization hit immediately. The polite acknowledgement she expected was absent. In its place was a quiet but unmistakable distancing, a social rebuff executed with precision and grace. In that instant, her internal narrative began to unravel: surprise, confusion, and a flicker of frustration. She had navigated countless public appearances, handled media scrutiny, and maintained poise under pressure, yet this encounter challenged everything she thought she understood about public perception and influence. Desperation began to creep in, though subtly. Meghan adjusted her stance, leaning slightly forward, attempting a casual conversational gesture, a tilt of the head, a softening of her expression designed to invite engagement. Her internal monologue raced. Perhaps if I smile a little wider, if I make eye contact longer, maybe this will work. Maybe they'll understand I only want a moment, a photo, a gesture that acknowledges my presence. But in the world Rihanna and A$AP Rocky inhabit, gestures like these are read differently. Effort can be interpreted as overeagerness, even intrusion. Meghan's carefully calibrated approach suddenly felt precarious, and the line between assertive and intrusive blurred. The photographers, keenly aware of every micro-movement, captured the unfolding drama. Meghan's hand extended, then paused mid-air. Her eyes flicked between Rihanna's calm gaze and A$AP Rocky's measured stance. Every flash illuminated the tension, the anticipation, the subtle frustration, the hope. The audience, both on the carpet and on social media, was about to witness a moment that transcended a simple photo request. It was a study in human emotion under public scrutiny. Attempts at humor or casual commentary from Meghan were met with polite deflection. Rihanna's responses, measured and professional, conveyed authority without overt confrontation. A$AP Rocky remained silent yet present, his presence alone a signal that the boundaries were firm. This was a carefully choreographed dance, executed without words, where every step, glance, and gesture carried significance. Meghan's attempts to navigate it underscored both her awareness and the limitations imposed by social hierarchies she had not fully mastered. Internal pressure mounted. Meghan felt the weight of the world's gaze, not just the cameras in front of her, but the unseen millions observing through news outlets, social media, and streaming platforms. Each micro-expression, each subtle gesture, was amplified exponentially. The desire for recognition became intertwined with vulnerability. In that moment, Meghan's plea for a photo was more than a request. It was a manifestation of a deep, universal need to be seen, acknowledged, and validated. The crowd around them felt the tension as an almost physical force. Whispers circulated. Is she asking for a photo? Why isn't Rihanna responding? Look at her expression. She looks frustrated. Observers in the media sensed the drama before it became a headline. Analysts debated, and fans speculated. The air was charged with anticipation, as if everyone collectively held their breath, waiting to see how this social confrontation would unfold. Meghan tried a different approach. Lowering her voice, softening her expression even further, she attempted to appeal to empathy, to connection. Her words were polite, almost conversational. Would you mind a quick photo? Just a moment? But Rihanna's subtle movement, a gentle step back, a shift of attention toward photographers, communicated a boundary that words could not override. A$AP Rocky's stance reinforced it. The red carpet had become a minefield, and Meghan, despite her experience, was caught in its invisible snares. The emotional stakes were unmistakable. For Meghan, every polite rebuff carried a dual weight: personal embarrassment and public interpretation. Internally, she wrestled with frustration, disappointment, and a flicker of self-doubt. Externally, every observer, every fan, every media outlet would interpret her reaction differently, some with sympathy, others with criticism, and many with fascination. The complexity of public life collided with the immediacy of social media scrutiny in a moment that was almost unbearably intense. Amid this tension, small gestures carried enormous meaning. Meghan's subtle lean, the tilt of her head, the micro-smile, each was an attempt to soften the boundary, to bridge the gap between intention and reception. Yet the subtle gestures from Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, small, deliberate, and unmistakable, served to reinforce the barrier. The silent communication was profound: acknowledgement, but not access; recognition, but not participation; inclusion, but on terms dictated by those in power. Observers began to speculate. Was this a deliberate social strategy by Rihanna and A$AP Rocky? Or was it a natural, instinctive response to an unfamiliar approach? Behind the flashes and cameras, insiders whispered about the calculated ways top-tier celebrities maintain their image and control over social interactions. Red carpet etiquette is often invisible to the public, yet it governs who is seen, who is photographed, and how narratives are shaped. Meghan had encountered that reality in its most subtle and public form. The tension escalated further as Meghan made one last attempt, a bold, final gesture meant to elicit acknowledgement. She stepped slightly closer, extending her hand with warmth, her eyes meeting Rihanna's with a hopeful intensity. Every photographer captured the moment. Every social media feed recorded the drama in real time. It was a final plea, a moment of vulnerability, and a test of whether public charm and royal poise could overcome celebrity authority. And then, just as the moment seemed poised to shift, the response arrived, a polite but unmistakable deflection. Rihanna's gaze shifted toward the cameras, her posture relaxed yet deliberate. A$AP Rocky subtly moved to reinforce the barrier. The silent, carefully orchestrated rebuff communicated what words could not. You are acknowledged, but you are not part of this sphere. Meghan's plea, sincere and emotionally charged, had been denied in the most public way possible. The red carpet, once a stage of glamour and admiration, had transformed into a crucible of public scrutiny, social hierarchy, and emotional tension. Meghan's experience was a stark reminder of the complexities of celebrity life, the unspoken rules of influence, and the sometimes cruel collision of intention and reception. The tension on the red carpet had reached a boiling point, and just when it seemed Meghan Markle might find a way to bridge the gap, another layer entered the scene: security. Not in a hostile or aggressive way, but in a manner that immediately altered the dynamics of the encounter. Security personnel, always present at high-profile events, are trained to anticipate not just threats, but the subtle emotional and social dynamics that can make or break a celebrity moment. On the Gotham Film Awards red carpet, their role would prove pivotal, and in ways Meghan could never have anticipated. It began subtly. As Meghan extended her hand toward Rihanna and A$AP Rocky for the final time, a security detail positioned itself strategically between her and the two music icons. To the casual observer, it might have looked like routine precaution, but in reality, the positioning was deliberate, precise, and unmistakable. It created a physical and psychological barrier, reinforcing the social boundaries already established. Meghan, fully aware of the subtle cues, felt the shift instantly. Every calculated step forward now carried the weight of physical restriction as well as social rebuff. Security's presence, while professional and unobtrusive, sent a powerful message. In the world of celebrity, proximity is power. A person's ability to engage with others, to be seen and photographed, is directly influenced by how close they can physically get. By subtly limiting Meghan's access, the security team effectively maintained the control and hierarchy Rihanna and A$AP Rocky had established. Every micro-step Meghan took was monitored, every gesture scrutinized, and every opportunity for engagement carefully managed. The invisible rules of red carpet influence became all too visible in that moment. For Meghan, the subtle intervention was both frustrating and revealing. Her desire for recognition, for inclusion in a photograph that would signal belonging, collided head-on with an orchestrated strategy of social defense. She attempted to adjust, shifting her stance slightly, leaning into the conversation, offering a polite nod and a soft smile. But each adjustment was met with a counterbalance of subtle moves, security shifting, photographers redirecting, Rihanna and ASAP Rocky maintaining poise. The psychological impact of these orchestrated motions was profound. Meghan was physically present, but socially and emotionally restrained. The crowd around them sensed the escalation. Photographers jostled for position, fans leaned forward, and whispers of anticipation rippled through the audience. Did she just get blocked? Why is security standing there? Look at her expression, she's hesitating. Social media feeds began lighting up in real time, snippets of video capturing Meghan's polite persistence and the subtle enforcement of boundaries. Analysts and fans speculated. Was this an intentional snub, a protective maneuver by Rihanna and ASAP Rocky, or a combination of both? Adding to the pressure was the knowledge that every micro-expression would be magnified online. Meghan's disappointment, frustration, or subtle gestures of appeal were no longer private. They were instantly broadcast to millions. In the hypervisual, hyperperformative world of celebrity, a single moment can define public perception. Every flash of the camera, every sideways glance, every pause became evidence to be interpreted, analyzed, and debated. Meghan's desire for connection now collided with an unyielding barrier of professionalism, authority, and strategy. The subtle choreography of security, celebrity, and media created a tension that was almost cinematic. Each movement was deliberate. Photographers angled their cameras to capture the drama, fans leaned closer, and Meghan adjusted her gestures in a delicate dance of hope and protocol. The emotional stakes were undeniable. In that single moment, Meghan's attempt for acknowledgement had transformed into a test of poise, patience, and public perception. Security also played an unspoken role in controlling narrative potential. By positioning themselves between Meghan and the music icons, they prevented physical proximity that could have resulted in a misinterpreted interaction, a viral misstep, or a social media storm. In high-profile events, control over optics is paramount, and the presence of trained security ensures that every moment remains within a manageable range of perception. Meghan's predicament highlighted just how complex and high-stakes red carpet dynamics truly are. Despite the physical and psychological barriers, Meghan did not retreat immediately. Her persistence, though carefully restrained, was evident in every polite gesture and hopeful glance. The cameras captured it all: the extended hand, the softening of her smile, the micro-expressions of anticipation and frustration. Every image was a study in tension, contrasting Meghan's vulnerability with the composed authority of Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. Observers began to dissect the scene in real time. Media outlets debated whether Meghan's attempts constituted overeagerness or were simply a natural effort to connect. Fans empathized with her struggle, noting the human desire to be seen and acknowledged. Analysts considered the strategic brilliance of Rihanna and ASAP Rocky's composure, the subtle reinforcement of boundaries, and the psychological mastery of maintaining control in public. The moment had transcended the simple quest for a photograph. It had become a lesson in influence, hierarchy, and emotional stakes. But as the crowd held its breath, Meghan's final attempts were met with the same polite, controlled deflection. Security subtly repositioned themselves, the photographers captured every angle, and Rihanna and ASAP Rocky maintained their poise. The moment was a silent declaration: acknowledgement, yes; access, no. Meghan's plea, sincere and emotionally charged, had been carefully managed and ultimately restrained. And yet, the tension was far from over. The red carpet had become a stage not just for photographs, but for an unfolding drama of social hierarchy, emotional stakes, and the collision of worlds. Meghan's resilience, her desire for recognition, and her emotional vulnerability set the stage for a confrontation that would go beyond polite deflection and subtle rebuff. It happened in a blink. One fleeting micro-expression, one subtle gesture, one split-second interaction. And suddenly, the world was watching in real time. Meghan Markle's attempt to secure a photograph with Rihanna and A$AP Rocky at the 2025 Gotham Film Awards did not just make headlines. It went viral, dominating social media feeds, news outlets, and gossip forums within minutes. But the reason this moment exploded wasn't simply because a former royal was rebuffed by two music icons. It was because it captured something profoundly human. The clash between desire, status, and perception under the unforgiving gaze of the world. The moment began innocuously. Meghan leaned slightly forward, her hand extended in what she hoped would be a natural, friendly gesture. Rihanna, poised and cool, subtly stepped aside while maintaining perfect composure. A$AP Rocky mirrored the movement, his presence creating an almost imperceptible barrier that was as much psychological as it was physical. For the cameras, the difference was dramatic. Flashbulbs captured Meghan's polite, almost desperate smile juxtaposed against Rihanna's calm, unyielding gaze and A$AP Rocky's silent, controlling stance. Within seconds, clips began circulating online. Fans and critics alike paused and replayed the video. Memes began to emerge, side-by-side comparisons of Meghan's hopeful expression and Rihanna's composed demeanor, captions exaggerating the tension, and playful commentary on the red carpet showdown no one expected. The viral moment was born, not from scandal, argument, or confrontation, but from the subtle, emotionally charged drama of human interaction captured at exactly the right angle. The emotional layers in that brief moment were profound. Meghan's outward calm masked a swirl of internal frustration, hope, and longing for acknowledgement. Rihanna's poise, by contrast, communicated mastery, control, and subtle dominance. A$AP Rocky's presence added a silent weight of authority, further amplifying the invisible hierarchy that Meghan had attempted to navigate. Every micro-expression, every glance, every nuanced shift in posture became material for public dissection. Social media erupted. Tweets, posts, and reels flooded platforms with captions like "Royal Snub." Meghan versus Rihanna, and A$AP Rocky's subtle barrier is everything. Fans debated endlessly. Was Meghan overstepping? Was Rihanna being deliberately cold? Was this a clash of worlds, royalty meeting celebrity dominance? Some sympathized with Meghan, praising her courage and vulnerability. Others criticized, suggesting that she misread social cues or failed to adapt to the norms of Hollywood interaction. The speed at which the moment went viral amplified its emotional intensity. Each repost, comment, and share magnified the drama, creating a feedback loop that turned a single interaction into a global spectacle. Analysts in entertainment media dissected every frame, highlighting micro-expressions, body language, and positioning. Every detail mattered. The tilt of Meghan's head, the gentle step back of Rihanna, the subtle stance of A$AP Rocky. These nuances became symbols of dominance, rejection, and social hierarchy. Meanwhile, the emotional fallout for Meghan was immediate. Cameras caught the flicker of her frustration, a fleeting tightening of the jaw, a brief hesitation as she processed the subtle rebuff. Internally, the experience was a whirlwind: anticipation, hope, tension, and finally, the sharp sting of public acknowledgement without inclusion. She had come seeking a simple photo but found herself in a highly visible lesson in social hierarchy and celebrity influence. Fans and observers couldn't get enough. Every snippet of video, every still photograph, was shared and reshared. Media outlets ran multiple segments analyzing body language, drawing comparisons to past red carpet incidents, and speculating on potential fallout. The story wasn't just about a snub. It was about power, perception, and the collision of worlds that few outside the entertainment industry truly understand. Adding to the spectacle was the irony. Meghan, accustomed to the scrutiny and controlled expectations of royal life, found herself navigating a terrain where influence is earned, visibility is strategic, and social power is demonstrated in subtle, almost invisible ways. Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's refusal, or strategic deflection, was not a personal attack, yet it carried the emotional weight of a public rebuff amplified by cameras and global attention. Meghan's poise met its ultimate test in an environment governed not by titles, protocol, or ceremony, but by perception, charisma, and control. The The red carpet crowd sensed the shift in energy. Photographers angled their cameras deliberately, capturing every nuance. Fans leaned closer, anticipating a potential interaction. Even those who had arrived expecting to admire the glamour now watched intently, aware that this moment carried a narrative that transcended the usual red carpet spectacle. It was drama distilled into motion, amplified by emotion and immediacy. Social media commentary added another layer. Analysts, commentators, and fans dissected micro-behaviors. Meghan's attempt at humor, her softening of expression, the slight forward lean, all interpreted through the lens of viral virality. Memes contrasted Meghan's hopeful approach with Rihanna's subtle deflection, turning a fleeting interaction into a cultural moment. What began as a private desire for acknowledgement transformed into a global lesson in influence, social dynamics, and the unforgiving spotlight of fame. Yet the story didn't end with the viral footage. Behind the scenes, whispers began to circulate about what had led to the tension in the first place. Some insiders suggested prior comments, media appearances, or perceived entitlement may have shaped Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's reactions. Others speculated about unspoken codes in Hollywood, the importance of earned influence, the protection of personal space, and the subtle negotiations of visibility. Meghan's public plea became a flashpoint for broader discussions about the intersection of fame, status, and belonging. And the viral moment had consequences beyond perception. Headlines painted the encounter as a dramatic showdown. Fans debated endlessly. Was Meghan humiliated, or was this an overblown interpretation of subtle gestures? The public fascination highlighted a central truth about celebrity life. Moments captured in a single frame can define perception, regardless of intention. Meghan's experience was not just personal. It became a case study in the fragility of image and the omnipresence of the world's gaze. But the climax of this drama was still to come. While the viral moment had captured global attention, what followed next on the red carpet would escalate tensions, reveal unexpected alliances, and push Meghan into a series of emotionally charged interactions that no one could have anticipated. As soon as the viral moment circulated online, the media descended like a storm. The footage of Meghan Markle's red carpet plea for a photo with Rihanna and A$AP Rocky ignited a frenzy that no one could ignore. Within minutes, headlines blared across digital platforms. Royal snubbed on red carpet. Meghan versus Rihanna. The clash everyone's talking about. A$AP Rocky's subtle barrier goes viral. For Meghan, what began as a personal desire for acknowledgement had transformed into an international spectacle, dissected by reporters, analysts, fans, and critics alike. The frenzy began with social media. Clips were shared and reshared on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Short, looped videos emphasized the subtle body language. Meghan leaning forward, Rihanna stepping back, A$AP Rocky's measured stance. Comments poured in from millions worldwide, offering a mix of empathy, criticism, and speculation. She just wanted a photo. Leave her alone, one user wrote. Another added, this is why influence matters more than titles. The emotional intensity of the moment was palpable, amplified by the viral spread of the footage. News outlets immediately jumped in. Entertainment journalists analyzed every detail frame by frame. Experts in celebrity etiquette were invited on talk shows to dissect the interaction. Meghan's body language, Rihanna's poise, and A$AP Rocky's silent authority became material for heated debate. Headlines emphasized drama, betrayal, and subtle power dynamics. The press was not just reporting. They were constructing a narrative, one that painted Meghan's plea as both bold and socially awkward. Inside the media ecosystem, the story was dissected further. Journalists contacted insiders, former red carpet coordinators, and body language experts. Theories emerged about Meghan's intentions, her public image management, and the unspoken rules of celebrity engagement. Some suggested that Meghan underestimated the nuances of celebrity hierarchy, while others argued that Rihanna and A$AP Rocky were simply exercising the influence that comes naturally with global stardom. Every angle was explored, every subtle gesture analyzed, and every possible interpretation debated. The intensity of the coverage created a feedback loop. Social media users reposted news articles referenced viral clips, and the clips themselves were shared in new contexts. Memes proliferated. Split-screen comparisons of Meghan's hopeful expression versus Rihanna's composed gaze, captions highlighting the clash of royalty and pop royalty, and commentary on the power dynamics of celebrity interactions. The story became a cultural moment, not because of conflict or insult, but because it captured a human struggle, the desire to belong in a space where hierarchy and influence are invisible yet absolute. For Meghan, the press frenzy added a new layer of pressure. She was already navigating an emotionally charged encounter on the red carpet. Now, every micro-expression and gesture was being amplified, critiqued, and turned into a story that reached millions in real time. The weight of public attention, combined with the emotional stakes of the moment, created an almost unbearable tension. Each step she took after the interaction, every smile, every nod, was scrutinized for signs of embarrassment, composure, or reaction. Her vulnerability became a global spectacle. Meanwhile, analysts dissected the viral video for broader implications. The interaction was framed as a case study in social power, celebrity influence, and public perception. Articles highlighted the contrast between Meghan's royal training, where gestures are controlled, measured, and interpreted within strict protocols, and Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's world, where charisma, image, and influence dictate the rules. The press frenzy emphasized the collision of two social universes, with Meghan's plea serving as the focal point of tension and drama. The frenzy was not limited to entertainment media. Talk shows, podcasts, and live broadcasts picked up the story. Celebrity commentators debated the subtle signals, while cultural analysts explored the broader social implications. Why was a photo denied? What did this reveal about power dynamics in celebrity culture? How did public perception shape the narrative? Each platform amplified the story, turning a fleeting red carpet moment into a defining cultural event. For Meghan, the personal and public stakes intertwined. She had entered the event expecting a polite acknowledgement, perhaps a fleeting photograph. Instead, she faced a viral moment that exposed her vulnerability, tested her composure, and challenged her understanding of influence in a world where celebrity operates on different rules than royalty. Every image, every clip, and every social media post added pressure, creating a heightened emotional environment that was difficult to navigate. The press frenzy also fueled speculation about underlying motivations. Was Meghan's persistence interpreted as overeagerness, or was it a reflection of her desire to remain relevant in an ever-changing social landscape? Was Rihanna's calm deflection a demonstration of influence, or simply a protective gesture to maintain personal space? Every interpretation added to the story's complexity, leaving audiences fascinated and divided. As the night progressed, the viral moment continued to dominate coverage. Reporters outside the venue, late-night shows, and online forums dissected every angle. Social media trends amplified hashtags related to the encounter, driving more viewers to the videos and photographs. The feedback loop intensified, making it clear that this was no ordinary red carpet incident. It was a global event with real emotional stakes, social commentary, and cultural resonance. Yet amid the frenzy, the story was far from over. Behind the viral clips and headline debates, the unfolding events on the red carpet were heading toward an even more dramatic escalation. Meghan's attempts at engagement, her emotional responses, and the strategies of Rihanna and A$AP Rocky were setting the stage for a public confrontation that would dominate both the event and social media in ways no one anticipated. The red carpet had become more than a walkway. It was a stage for public judgment, a theater of celebrity hierarchy, and an emotional battlefield. Meghan Markle, caught in the glare of cameras, the buzz of social media, and the subtle rebuffs of Rihanna and A$AP Rocky, now faced the internal storm she had tried to mask behind royal poise and polite smiles. What had started as a simple request, a photograph, a fleeting acknowledgement, had become an emotionally charged spectacle that tested every ounce of her composure. For Meghan, the emotional response was immediate and multi-layered. Externally, she maintained her signature poise. Her posture remained straight, her smile controlled, and her gestures polite. Yet beneath the surface, a storm brewed: frustration, disappointment, vulnerability, and a creeping sense of isolation. Each flash of the camera, Each subtle movement from Rihanna and ASAP Rocky acted as a catalyst for the swirling emotions she had tried to contain. Her first reaction was subtle but telling. As the viral moment spread online, Meghan's eyes flickered briefly, a micro-expression captured by high-definition cameras that instantly became a focal point for commentators. The momentary tightening around her eyes and slight downturn of her lips revealed the human cost of public scrutiny. She was processing the public snub, the subtle deflection, and the overwhelming attention all at once. It was a flash of emotion that told a story no words could convey. Hope met resistance, desire met hierarchy, and personal intent collided with public perception. Internally, Meghan's mind raced. She replayed the interaction, analyzing every gesture, every micro-expression, every subtle cue that might have conveyed misinterpretation or rejection. Did I overstep? She wondered. Was I too eager? Did they see me as intruding? The questions were relentless, each one amplifying the emotional tension. For someone accustomed to navigating the controlled environments of royal protocol, the unpredictability of Hollywood's social dynamics presented an entirely new and emotionally taxing challenge. The emotional intensity escalated as photographers and media continued to capture every nuanced reaction. Each click of a camera, each flash, acted as an amplifier, magnifying Meghan's internal struggle into a public performance. She adjusted her stance, shifted her gaze, and managed her smile, all while attempting to remain composed under scrutiny. The pressure of being observed by millions in real time intensified every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of emotion. Her vulnerability became visible in other subtle ways. A fleeting pause before responding to a question from a passing journalist, a small intake of breath as she processed a fan's request for a selfie, a brief glance at Rihanna and ASAP Rocky. All conveyed layers of emotion that went beyond simple etiquette. These were the micro-moments that the public and media would dissect, turning internal struggle into narrative fodder. Meghan's emotional response was both human and performative, simultaneously authentic and framed by the relentless gaze of the public eye. Yet, despite the intensity of the moment, Meghan sought to regain control. She took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and attempted a softer, more measured approach. Words were chosen carefully, gestures refined, and expressions moderated. The effort was monumental. To project confidence and composure while navigating internal frustration, public scrutiny, and the subtle rebuffs that had defined the encounter. Every move was calculated, yet every calculation carried emotional weight. Fans watching from afar could feel the tension. Social media erupted with commentary about Meghan's visible struggle. Analysts dissected the micro-expressions. The slight tightening of her jaw, the brief hesitation in her smile, the controlled lift of her hand. Some empathized, noting the human desire for acknowledgement in a high-pressure environment. Others criticized, suggesting that her approach had been too forward or ill-timed. The intensity of emotional scrutiny was relentless, reflecting the unforgiving nature of celebrity life. Adding to the pressure was the knowledge that her every response would be interpreted as part of a broader narrative. Meghan's emotional expression was not simply about one photograph. It became symbolic of ongoing struggles with public perception, media narratives, and celebrity influence. Every reaction was a potential headline, every expression a potential meme, every gesture a reflection of how royalty interacts with global pop culture. Despite the vulnerability, Meghan also displayed remarkable resilience. She continued to navigate the red carpet with grace, responding to fans, acknowledging photographers, and managing interactions with careful poise. The emotional challenge did not incapacitate her. Rather, it forced her to adapt, to strategize, and to maintain composure under circumstances that tested both patience and perception. Her ability to maintain control, even as internal emotions surged, highlighted the complexity of the human experience under the glare of public attention. The emotional stakes escalated further as the evening continued. Meghan's responses were no longer just about one interaction. They became a series of emotional negotiations with herself, with the cameras, and with the surrounding celebrities. Every glance, every gesture, every movement was a balance between vulnerability and strategy, between desire and restraint. The emotional response was layered, nuanced, and highly visible, an intricate dance of internal processing and external performance. Observers could not ignore the drama unfolding in real time. Every flash, every whisper, every subtle movement contributed to the narrative of Meghan's emotional journey. The public fascination grew, fueled by a mix of empathy, curiosity, and the human attraction to social hierarchy and tension. Meghan's visible emotional response was more than an individual experience. It became a cultural moment, a lesson in the collision of human desire, public scrutiny, and celebrity influence. And just when it seemed Meghan might regain her composure, the situation escalated further. A sudden interaction with another high-profile attendee, combined with the continuing viral attention online, pushed her emotional state to new heights. The red carpet, already a high-stakes arena, transformed into a crucible of emotion, perception, and public spectacle. Meghan's ability to manage her internal response would be tested in ways no one could have anticipated. While the world watched Meghan Markle's red carpet struggle unfold on cameras and social media feeds, the drama behind the scenes was just as intense, if not more so. Hollywood insiders, fellow attendees, and event coordinators were witnessing not just a viral moment, but a high-stakes emotional and social performance. Behind the glitz, the flashing lights, and the carefully choreographed smiles, the reactions of other celebrities revealed the intricate web of influence, alliances, and unspoken rules that govern these events. Immediately after the viral clip began circulating online, whispers spread backstage. Celebrities who had previously gathered for pre-show photos and casual networking began to murmur about what they had just witnessed. Some offered sympathetic glances toward Meghan, quietly noting her courage and vulnerability. Others, seasoned veterans of Hollywood red carpets, nodded knowingly, recognizing the subtle ways social hierarchies were being enforced. "That's how it works," one insider commented to a friend. "You don't just walk into someone else's sphere without reading the room first." The backstage area became a hive of speculation. Agents, assistants, and PR teams dissected the footage in real time, analyzing Meghan's gestures, Rihanna's calm demeanor, and A$AP Rocky's silent but firm presence. Each movement, each glance, each micro-expression became material for understanding social dynamics and preparing for potential media fallout. For Hollywood professionals, what the cameras captured was both educational and cautionary, a live demonstration of influence, power, and reputation management in action. Among the celebrities present, reactions varied dramatically. Some expressed admiration for Meghan's resilience, noting the challenge of maintaining composure under immense pressure. "She's holding it together pretty well," one young actor whispered, clearly impressed. Others saw it differently, interpreting Meghan's visible attempts for acknowledgement as overeager or awkward in a context where social capital is earned and carefully maintained. The subtle division of opinion highlighted the complexity of celebrity culture, where perception can shift in an instant based on gestures, timing, and positioning. The discussion wasn't limited to verbal observations. Many celebrities observed non-verbally, exchanging knowing looks, slight smirks, or raised eyebrows. These gestures carried